إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهديه الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله وأحسن الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها فإن كل محدثة بدعة وَكُلَّ بِدْعَةٍ ضَلَالَةٍ وَكُلَّ ضَلَالَةٍ فِي النَّارِ. We give thanks and glorifications to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We beseech the noble blessing of the soul of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his household, his companions, and all the generality of Muslims to the day of accountability. Inshallah, what we shall be looking at today is Al-Khushoo fi Salat. And this is what majority of us struggle with when we observe our Salat. Just as we all know that when we stand before Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is something that cannot be controlled. It is something that we cannot do without. Anytime we stand before Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to observe our salat, we will definitely think about something. Because that is when shaitan tries to set in. And when you are observing the salat, that is when you start thinking of so many things. I need to go to this place. I need to discuss this with my wife. I need to catch up with the appointment. I need to go early to work. I've not prepared my food. I've not so many things will start coming into your mind when you start observing Salat. So this is what majority of us, this is what we struggle about. But the most important thing that we should have at the back of our mind is Man salla bila khushoo fala salata lahu aw fa salatuhu ghayru sahihah. Whoever observes Salat and the person does not have khushoo in his Salat, that Salat will not be valid. We pray to Almighty Allah that Allah should rectify our affairs. Khushoo in Salat is something that's very, very important. But before we go there, let's talk about the meaning of Khushoo itself. What is the meaning of Khushoo? Khushoo means al-khudu, at-tadhallul, at-tawaddu, al-khawf, wama. So Khushoo means solemnity, calmness, fear, humility, humbleness, and some other things like that. But when you talk about the meaning of Khushoo in the Sharia, so it means udurul qalbi aw qiyamul qalbi bayna yaday rabbi bitadhallul wal khudu. So it means for somebody to be present-minded. Make sure that your mind is present while you observe your salat before Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because when you have it in your mind that you are before Almighty Allah, you are standing before Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you know that it is very important for you to make sure that your mind is also present. Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because whoever observes salah without khushoo, so it's like a body, it's like a lifeless body. A body that exists, but the body does not have any life in it. That's the meaning of the salah that you observe without khushoo. We pray to Almighty Allah that Allah should rectify our affairs. So when you talk about khushoo, so many scholars, ذهب كثير من العلماء إلى أن الخشوع واجب في الصلاة. So majority of the scholars have taken the view that, the opinion that Khushoo in Salat is something that is compulsory. And we have some scholars who even said whoever observes Salat without Khushoo, they say it's recommended that the person should repeat that Salat. So it means when we are observing our Salat now, we have to observe it with Khushoo. We have to be present-minded. You don't allow your heart to start traveling here and there. Look at the famous hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Innal insan aw innal abda la yusalli wa ma yuktabu lahu illa nisfuhu wa thuluthuhu wa rubu'uhu wa khumsuhu wa sudusuhu wa subu'uhu wa thumunuhu wa tis'uhu wa tusu'uhu wa ushuruhu." So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, somebody will observe salat and it will not be written. The reward of that salat will not be written for such a person except nisfuhu. So except what? Except which means except half of the reward. The person will just have half of the reward. Some people will get 1/3. Some people will get 1/4. Some people will get 1/5, 1/6, 1/7. So Prophet Sallallahu continue in that manner. So it means if you observe Salat now, what will determine the reward you earn from that Salat is what? Is the level of your concentration while observing that Salat. So it means two people might observe Salat now, and they may not earn the same reward. And when you talk about this khushoo, is inside the what? It's inside the heart, and we have to work towards it. And how do we know that it's inside the heart? And Sayyidina Umar was walking past a man one day, and he saw the man observing Salat. The man was observing Salat and bending his neck down like this while observing the Salat. Like you see somebody like this person has Khushoo in the Salat. So it means he's observing the Salat and he's doing like this as if he's concentrating. So Sayyidina Umar told the man, he said, Ya sahiba rokoba, O the beholder of neck, inna al-khushu'a fil qulub wa laysa fil riqab. He said khushu is inside the heart, not in the neck. Irfa rukabatak, raise your neck up. So it means mahallu, yani mahall al-khushu al-qalb. The space where the khushu resides is what is inside the heart. Now look at it very well. Allah said in the Quran, in Surah Al-Mu'minun, Allah said, Qad aflaha al-mu'minun alladhina hum fi salatihim khashi'un. Allah said the believers are indeed successful. The believers are what? They are indeed successful. Allah now said, Alladhina fi salatihim khashi'un. That's what Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started with. He said, these are the people who have khushu in their salat. Yani mutadhallilun, sakinun. These are the people who humble themselves. Khaifun. These are the people who fear Almighty Allah. These are the people who observe the salat with complete solemnity and calmness. So it means that salat, even looking at it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Wasta'inu bi sabri wa salat. Now, if you look at the verse in Surah Al-Mu'minun, so it means the first thing that Almighty Allah mentioned from the true believers of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who are successful, who will be successful in this life and in the day of resurrection, are those who observe their salat with what? With khushu. So for you to know how important khushu is, but for you to attain this khushu, we need to look at what? We need to look at so many other things that we need to consider. Allah said in the Quran, Allah said, Wasta'inu bis-sabri was-salat, wa inna ala kabiratun illa ala al-khashi'in. Allah even talked about this salat. He said, la kabiratun. So it means la shaqqa. This salat is something that is very difficult. It's a Herculean task. It's not something that somebody can come by easily. Somebody observing salat 5 daily salat, wallah, is not easy. It is not easy. Allah now say, illa ala al-khashi'in. The people that this salat will not be difficult to observe for are the people who have khushu in their salat. So it means if you observe your salat now and you do not what? You don't observe it with khushu, then that salat is what? Is under probability if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept it or not. So we need to think about this thing. Whenever we observe our salat, we should observe it with khushu. We want to. That's why if you are observing salat, you have to take away every other distractions. Any form of distraction. That's why Prophet Sallallahu said, La salata bi hadarati ta'am. When your food is being served, leave salat at that period. Because when you go to your salat, you always think about the food. So anything that will make us to be distracted on our salat, the Prophet Sallallahu does not want us to do it. He said, Wala huwa yudafi al-akbathan. When you feel the urge to urinate, you feel the urge to what? To defecate. Abandon salat at that moment. Then you want to concentrate on it. So when we observe our salat now, it's inside the heart, not on the body. The results will definitely show in the body, but the place is what? The place of the khushu is inside the heart. Hudhayfa ibn Yaman, he said, Iyakum wa khushu and nifaq. He said, beware of the khushu of hypocrisy. And he was asked, oh Hudhayfa radiallahu anhu, he was being asked that, what ma khushu nifaq? How do you mean when you say khushu nifaq? How do you mean by the khushu of hypocrisy? He said, an yaksha al-badan wal qalibu laysa bi khashi'in. He said when the body has khushu, you can see the person, the way the person is observing salat, that this person is observing the salat in the most perfect manner. Wal qalibu laysa bi khashi'in, but inside his heart there is no khushu there. We pray to Almighty Allah that Allah should explain our affairs. So our salat is more than just somebody saying, I've observed the salat. No, you have to observe it with 100% concentration. If you cannot achieve 100%, you have to work towards it. Look at a good example. One of the gay Sahaba Prophet Ubad bin Bishr. He was observing salat one day and he was being attacked by 3 different arrows on that salat, and he did not end that salat. Because of what? Because he was enjoying that salat. That's number 1. Then number 2 is he was having secret conversation with Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So as a result of that, because of the enjoyment and the enjoyment he found in that salat, he found it very difficult to end that salat. This is the hal of the salaf. This is how our pious predecessors, this is how they take the issue of khushu. This is how they take it very seriously. We pray to Almighty Allah. These are the things that we need to take note of. Whenever you observe salat, observe your salat with complete calmness, complete concentration. Make sure that your heart, make sure you empty your heart from anything that has to do with thinking about this worldly life, thinking about the tribulations, the havocs, the happiness, everything that has to do with this life. Try to take it away from your heart, because now it is time for you to worship Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A good example, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was being exhausted by the activities of this world, he will now call Bilal. He say, Ya Bilal, arina bi salat. Ya Bilal, arina bi salat. Oh Bilal, please give our rest, make our rest in salat. I want you to make the call to salat, because Prophet sallallahu, whenever he found activities that exhausted him in this dunya, he used to take he would take his rest in salat. And that's how most of us, that's how we need to be. We pray to Almighty Allah that Allah shall rectify our affairs. Inshallah, we'll stop here for now. Then we talk about the conditions of the validity of salat with Khushoo, without Khushoo. Then we talk about how we can achieve that Khushoo itself. We pray to Almighty Allah shall rectify our affairs. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.